Good morning. This half term the value is responsibility, and this week's focus is I am responsible for my behaviour. So firstly, just a quick recap. What is responsibility? Well, responsibility is something we need to do, and it'll make things better for us and better for others, and it will make things safer for us and safer for others. So the focus this week is about being responsible for your behaviour. So first of all, let's think about some ways to behave responsibly. You can take turns. You can be a good friend. Keep your hands and your feet to yourself. Look after belongings and put things away. Listen quietly to others. And sit still, sit at your table at work time or when you're eating. Tell the truth, don't be like Pinocchio. And admit mistakes. Mistakes are quite normal. Recognise them, acknowledge them and admit them. But things don't always go quite to plan, and sometimes we do things that we shouldn't. So if your behaviour hasn't been good, accept what you have done. That's the most responsible thing to do. Accept any consequences. Don't try and make excuses. Don't invent things. And don't blame others. If you've done something wrong, you've done something wrong. It's not somebody else's fault. And try and learn from it. Don't do it again. This story is called The 4 Smart Students. And they do something wrong, but they don't take responsibility for what they've done, and you'll see what happens. One night, 4 college students were out partying late at night, and they didn't study for the test, which was scheduled for the next day. In the morning, they thought of a plan. They made themselves look dirty with grease and dirt, and then they went to the teacher and said they'd gone out to a wedding last night, and on the way back the tyre of their car burst and they had to push the car all the way back, so they were in no condition to take the test. The teacher thought for a minute and said that they could have the retest after 3 days. They thanked him and said that they will be ready by that time. On the 3rd day, they appeared before the teacher. The teacher said that as this was a special condition test, all 4 were required to sit in separate classrooms for the test. They all agreed, as they had prepared well in the last 3 days. The test consisted of only 2 questions with the total of 100 points. Number 1, your name, 1 point. Question 2, which tyre burst? 99 points. The front left, front right, back left or back right? Do you think the students knew which tyre had burst? Well, had a tyre burst? No, it was just an excuse. So unless they'd decided between them which was the tyre that had burst, I think they were stuck. They'd been caught out. So how do you think the students felt at the end when they were caught out for lying about what had happened? Probably felt bad for a start. They might have felt sorry. Maybe they felt guilty. Maybe they felt angry, because sometimes if you've done something, the feelings that you have, you don't want to feel them about yourself, so you become angry about something else or about somebody else. Maybe they felt very silly, or maybe, and most probably, they felt ashamed of what they'd done. So let's have a think. Why should you take responsibility for your behaviour? Well, it builds trust in you. Even if you've done something wrong, if you're honest about it, then people are more likely to trust you and believe you. And respect as well. It's about people respecting you, respecting that you've accepted what you've done wrong, and self-respect, respect for yourself rather than try to make excuses. And it also helps with acceptance that you do things wrong, acceptance of others of what you have done. And that leads to the ability to be able to forget it, or at least forgive it. And you should take responsibility for your behaviour because it's the right thing to do. So just before we finish, here's a quote for you to think about. You can't undo what you have already done, but you can face up to it. So once you've done something, that's it. It's done. You can't undo it. The best thing you can do is acknowledge it, own it, and do something about it. So remember, you are the person that controls your behaviour. It's not somebody else's job. It's not somebody else's responsibility. It's your responsibility. So this week, be responsible for your behaviour.